Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
Welcome back.
MisFitNation. MisFitNation.
We are a show founded by veterans and hosted by veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their story to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on, share some of your tips with the audience to help them become better versions of themselves. If you're a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and share how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you're a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and just share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. Reach out, we will get you on. If you are feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle, or are embarrassed to share that with them, please dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make it a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you're a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation. Be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast apps and also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisfitNation. That's @the_MisfitNation. Subscribe and click the bell. This will keep you up to date with all of our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Electrocast Media and About Face Radio. This will keep you tuned into us and learn more about our great guests.
Tonight we have a good one. We all hear stories about the crazy, the brave, and the crazy brave that serve or served in the military. They say it takes a special human to run towards danger while others are running away. Our guest tonight put crazy brave on a platter and served it. His sisters and brothers are known for their great hair, their catchy wit, but most of all, their blatant disregard for their own safety. You see, they get a call at all hours of the day and night to go and disarm some sort of device. There is no please hold button. They have to respond. We know there were times when it seemed like years before they arrived, but when they did, it was either 100% success or total failure. There is no in between in their profession. Watch this clip for those listening on About Face Radio. Just listen in.
Got a wire. Hang on. Secondary.
Shit. Take cover. Get in the wall. Get in the wall.
Walker. Our next guest served in the United States Army for over 2 decades of his life. He ended his service to the Army as an EOD tech as a senior non-commissioned officer with multiple deployments and VIP missions in support of POTUS and the Secret Service. So without further ado, let's welcome U.S. Army EOD veteran Jake Holland to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, Jake.
Good evening, MisFitNation. Rich, you're going to pay for that.
I told you your theme movie is going to be on the show. I had to get it on there. So all the EOD techs out there, you're welcome for showing your theme movie. If I go on a show, you can show The Rock. I guess that's our movie. So here we go. So, Jake, I gave a little bit about your background there, about an inch and a half of it. Tell us a little bit more about yourself from as far back as you want to go to how you wound up in the service and, of course, how you wound up in the bomb suit to where we are now.
Well, when I was a kid, I grew up small town America in Indiana. A brother and 2 sisters. Farm community. I didn't want to farm, drive a truck. I come from a long line of coal miners, and I didn't want to do that, so I joined the Army for 3 years in the college money. Was getting ready to get out. I was a helicopter crew chief in the cavalry at Fort Carson. I met some EOD guys, and I figured, hey, this is for me. And so I went to EOD school, and best career decision I ever made. And I spent went to school in 1989 and spent from then to 2011 in the EOD field. And I can honestly say that there were bad times, but I loved every minute of it. Loved the people I worked with. Had a great group of folks. And that's about it in a nutshell.
And then you're a little humble there. I know during your career you actually trained the next generation of EOD techs. Yeah, you were down in Florida. You trained the next generation of EOD techs, and you were right there where the wall is, the memorial wall for all the EOD guys. And you continue now to train soldiers so they come home. So that you need to have a little less humbleness on that and show people that you continue to serve and you still serve with purpose now.
I did. I loved my time at the EOD school. It's humbling. I can't think about that wall, let alone go to it without tearing up a little bit. There's 2 people, their names are on that wall that really mean a lot to me. One of them I trained in school. He was a soldier at the EOD school when I was down there working. He came to Fort Campbell. He got there a little before I did because I PCS there. His name is Johnny Mason. Great individual. He passed in 2005 in Iraq. And the other was she showed up out of EOD school to Camp Shelby. Her name was Kim Bowles. Another great individual. She come to us as a young PFC and became an outstanding NCO. And those are the 2 I think about when I think about that wall. And today, doing what we do at Fort Campbell, I love being around soldiers. I love training soldiers. I loved being a soldier, and I love it. I'll get out of it when they tell me to go home. They're going to have to make me leave.
They can't move us too many more places. There's not many more places on base to move us to. So
it gives a GP medium on the parade field.
I guess so. Or we can sit in the overhang and hang out there and rig wires or whatever. But hopefully we don't come to that point and we continue to serve soldiers and continue to have a purpose with them and help them to win their next missions and come back to us whole. I mean, you made a pretty good statement there. You didn't want to farm, so you joined the Army. And what do you do now at home?
Well, I raise cattle and chickens.
Is that not a farm?
Yeah, It is.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but
It it kind of grounds me. Uh, it gives me something to do when I'm not at work. It gives me a lot to do when I'm not at work. It keeps me busy, and uh, whenever we take our cattle to slaughter, the folks that buy from us and ourselves, uh, they know what's in it. There's uh, no hormones. Everything is. I'm not going to say that I'm organic, but it's as close to organic as you can get without tacking the name on it. And I enjoy it. I wish you could partake.
so do I. Believe me, but the Lord had different plans for me, I guess. With Johnny the Tick, Timmy the Tick biting me, I
You
guess. So.
you did get a chicken though.
I think the chicken. Chicken was good. Chickens are always good now. That's my favorite food now. Chicken and their friends, the turkeys. So, Jake, a little more about you. It's a big jump to go from a crew chief in a little helicopter back then. There's probably the Cobras and Hueys probably back then when you came in, or
It
was
was
it just
actually an OH-58.
OH-58? Oh, let's aged a little more. OH-58, all right. From
And
that to saying, hey,
not
I want to disarm
not
some
not
stuff.
the Delta model either.
Yeah, the oldest model possible, the one that just came out of Vietnam and you joined, right?
Yes.
Yes. So tell us about some of your first flights and how that affected your mindset.
I liked flying. I love scouting. Uh, I like working on them. Being in the cav, we were an air troop in a armored cavalry squadron, so we were kind of the redheaded stepchildren. Uh, it wasn't fun, but worked with a bunch of good guys. Uh, but we'd come out of the field one day, and I probably had 120 days left in the army, and the EOD detachment was right across from our troop area, and they were out there lighting up a grill, and
No way.
yeah, like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I went over and spoke to them and asked them what they did, and they told me, and I said, how can I do that? And then 90 days later I was in EOD school. But you know I'm glad that I had that base in a combat unit, to kind of teach me you know my military bearing and stuff like that, because that's one thing that the cav was good for, was teaching that.
Yeah.
And uh, so I'm glad I had that base and didn't go into EOD off the right off the street like a lot of soldiers do.
And at that time, did you have to do like the OJT at the EOD unit out there at Carson?
I did. I spent 90 days there at the 94th EOD at Fort Carson, and then went to EOD school, phase one at Eglin Air Force Base. Then I went to Indian Head Naval Ordnance Station in Maryland, and then to Redstone Arsenal for the last of it.
So 3 phases then. Okay. So you had to do the wax suit and stuff at Carson, make sure you can do it right. The tap suit and
Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
had to do a tap suit test, which is, well, you've been in a tap suit.
Explain to the audience what a tap suit is and make them feel happy about it.
Okay. You get these wool socks and long underwear that have been impregnated and soaked in beeswax and bleach. You put those on. Then you put on this impermeable rubber suit that's one piece. And then you put on the lovely M9 protective mask. You start sweating as soon as you put it on, no matter how cold it is outside. And then they gave me a 155 round to carry around the block. And if I didn't pass out, I passed. So, and at the time we didn't really have a bomb suit per se. Now they test them out in a bomb suit as well. But yeah, so the TAP suit is, ugh, it's a horrible thing to be in.
It's likely to make it a reference to hell on earth, I'd like to call it, but
Well, I do know that after about 5 or 10 minutes, you start sloshing around in the fireman's boots, and you dump quite a bit of sweat out of them when you get out.
it's like being in mop gear for hours at a time, then thinking about life choices at the end of the day.
Yeah, what you was a chemical guy,
Yeah, like I'm getting flashbacks just talking about this. But it's rough. I'm starting to get that twitch. My nerve agent twitch is coming back, but it'll go away later, I think, hopefully. So you got to EOD and you started doing great things there. Your first duty assignment after coming out of school was where?
White Sands Missile Range.
Well, that had to be a hard one.
It's out in the middle of nowhere. It was a good assignment. I was seeing things out there that hadn't made it to the field yet. We were testing. Well, about that time, the first Gulf War was kicking off shortly after I got there. So we were big into testing Patriot missiles, a lot of Stingers, Tomahawks, the Blue 97. We did a lot of Blue 97 drops, a lot of MLRS testing. And what they were doing was they were testing all the lot numbers of ammunition before they went over. And so after they fired everything, we went out and cleaned it all up.
So you're like the privates of the battlefield.
Exactly.
So you mentioned the Patriot missile. I guess a lot of the audience members might remember the Patriot missile's fame from the first Gulf War. That's the one before 9/11. Everyone, before 9/11, there was a Gulf War before then as well. And the Patriot missile was used extensively to shoot down the Scud missiles. But there wasn't a very they called it high success rate, but they were wasting a lot of missiles, a lot of ordnance in order to shoot down one missile. I don't know if you knew that as well.
Yes.
It was almost an 8-to-1 shot sometimes.
We may or may not have run into that problem at White Sands.
Look at there. History does repeat itself sometimes. From there, where'd you go? From White Sands to where?
I went to a little base called Camp Paul Blomquist that was in Ziegenberg, Germany. It was a remote site. It was in an old SS compound. The only people there were us, just the EOD detachment. That was the 21st EOD. I like to call that the real 21st EOD. And shortly after I got there, about 2 or 3 months, the whole unit moved to Wildflecken. So I spent the rest of my tour in Germany at Wildflecken. And our basic mission there was we had a few VIP missions and stuff, but we were destroying war stock landmines because this was shortly after the wall went down. So we were getting rid of about 50 tons of M15 and M16 landmines a day.
Wow.
So that was our job there, and we was doing it at Wildflecken and Grafenwehr.
It's a pretty hefty job you had to do there. So did you deploy from there, or that was before deployment?
No, I didn't deploy it. I didn't actually deploy anywhere till my next duty station, which was Camp Shelby.
Oh, woo.
It was hot.
See a trend here.
And went to Camp Shelby, and out of there I went to deployed once to Ethiopia, and then I went to Bosnia. The first round of I guess it was I-4.
Yeah.
and went to Bosnia over there with the 1st Brigade of the 1st Armored Division. And really,
that was when all the mud was there, and the mud huts and stuff, right? Or the mud roads and everything.
Yeah, it was. The mud was deep there. The camp I was on wasn't too bad, but we were located right up on the ZOS, the zone of separation. We worked that area, and that was probably. I really love that deployment because that was probably the first real battlefield EOD work that I had done. It was, we did a lot of weapons caches, did a few IEDs, not too many, a lot of landmines, and just a lot of ordnance on the battlefield. Everything from 1.52 rounds to hand grenades all over the place.
I can imagine a lot of that stuff was just there, not just from that conflict, but from training that they did over there prior.
Yes, a lot of it.
A lot of the quote training. For those on the radio, I'm saying quotes without saying it. But so when did you get you came back to Campbell from there, and then you started deploying for Quad, or no?
No. After Camp Shelby, I went to Eglin Air Force Base and did my 3 years instructor time down there. And the 52nd Group Sergeant Major at the time, he had been my dead NCO. And we still remain close today. Great man, John Maples. He calls me and he says, hey, he said, you about ready to get out of there? I'm like, well, yeah. He says, where do you want to go? Well, for my whole time in the military, I've been trying to get to Fort Campbell because it was close to home. And I said, well, Sergeant Major, I said, I'd like to go to Fort Campbell. He said, all right, I'll see what I can do. Well, Monday morning, I'm out working in Ground Ordnance Division, and I get a phone call, and it's the PAC from back on Main Side. They say, hey, you just came down on levee. You're going to Fort Campbell. And I'm like, cool. So when I got to Fort Campbell is when I did my deployments over to Iraq. Did one deployment to Kosovo before that. Matter of fact, when the 101st was getting ready to leave, they were casing the colors. We had just finished up the walk and shoot range, clearing it all off and making that range out there at OP-13. And we all went up to General Petraeus's office, and he's talking and everything. And he says, well, I'm fixing to go case the colors so we can leave. He says, I'll see you guys on the ground in Iraq. And I'm like, sir, you won't see us. And he was a little taken aback by that. He goes, I don't get to take my own EOD team with me. It's like, no, sir. I said, you'll get one on the ground. We're going to Kosovo. So that's how we went to Kosovo. Then when we got back from there, that's when we started deploying to Iraq.
Then you wind up assisting another team up in Jersey too, right? To go
yes.
With that as well.
We got back, and I was in the middle of a bunch of personal stuff, and I didn't want to be around it. And so I called Sergeant Major. I said, hey, anything coming up? And he gave me a choice, and I took a choice to go for 6 months. And so I went with the 754th out of New Jersey, up at Fort Monmouth. Great bunch of soldiers up there. Had a good time over there. Then I came back from that deployment and went on the surge. So went for 15 more months, but it was all good. During that time, I between the first and second deployment, I met the love of my life. She's what keeps me grounded. My wife, Mickey, and she's been with me ever since, and still with me today. Great woman. Can't say enough good things about her.
No matter how many times you hurt her, too, physically, too, it's amazing. See
Hey.
her willing in a wheelchair. Come on. Of those deployments, which one of the combat deployments was probably the roughest?
The first one, because first of all, you don't know what's going on. And I spent the first half of that deployment as the ops sergeant for the company. And so I really didn't get out of the wire that much as I tried. And then that's the deployment we lost Johnny. And that really hit hard. And then probably about the last 3 months of the last deployment, because it was, I'd had enough. I was tired. Don't get me wrong. I was with a great group of guys. The commander and first sergeant were great, but I was tired, and it was time to slow down, and it was time to quit running away from stuff and come home and deal with stuff.
So it's kind of, I know you hate the reference, but to your theme movie there, as you go through that movie, you see that he's also burning out in that movie too. It does the same things you just said you did, almost exactly what you did. Ran 2 deployments instead of running to his family, and until it's too late. And I'm glad that you were able to flip that switch and say, "Hey, it's time to look a different direction, look about life after this, and see where I can go and have some resilience."
Oh yeah. I wouldn't give up that time that I spent over there for anything, but I needed to come home and start working on me, because I wasn't doing it over there.
Definitely. So we'll come back in about 2 minutes and 50 seconds, Jake. I want you to think about top 5 road trip songs of all time. So you can think about that. We're at break here. I'll catch you on the other side.
Okay.
Let me tell you the truth about Texas. Granddad used to say, I'd sit on his knee with his arm around me. He'd point out across the stage. There's history out there nobody can change. Boy, it belongs to you. Let me tell you the truth about Texas, son. It bleeds red, white, and blue. If you want to know the truth about Texas, it's everything you love. It's red in the dirt, white in the clouds, and the blue in the sky above. It's rivers that flow in the Alamo, pick up San Patron. If you want to know the truth about Texas, son, it's in your bones. You were born and bred pure Texan, he said. You don't know, but she's your first love. Barroom brawls and Friday night life, it all runs through your blood. When the neighbors help rebuild your house after a springtime flood. If you want to know the truth about Texas, son, it's here, they never give up. If you want to know the truth about Texas, it's everything you love. It's red in the dirt, white in the clouds, and the blue in the sky above. It's rivers that flow in the Alamo, pick up San Patron. If you want to know the truth about Texas, son, it's in your bones. It's in a handshake, it's in a kiss, something that you say. The desert sands far from home, within the adobe clay. About working to live and living to work, flagging the farm in God's green earth. Want to know the truth about Texas, it's everything you love. It's red in the dirt, white in the clouds, and the blue in the sky above. The rivers are flowing the Alamo, pickups and Patron. If you want to know the truth about Texas, son, feel it in your bones. Want to know the truth about Texas? Texas, son, it's what we call home.
All right, we're back with Jake Holland, U.S. Army veteran, EOD tech, and I gave him a challenge before the break to come up with his 5 best road trip songs for the audience, so they can put that in their song playlist when they go on the next road trip. And go, Jake.
Kashmir, Led Zeppelin. In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins. That's got to be in there. Shreveport by the Turnpike Troubadours. Watermelon Moonshine by Lainey Wilson. And
a good drink, by the way.
It is.
Yes.
And The Road Goes On Forever by Robert Earl Keen Jr.
Oh, good list there. And I gave you too much time, I guess. I should have made it 10. All right.
I drive a lot.
You definitely do. And you have your dog and your dogs and your better half with you. So you have to have some music in there to keep you calm and cool and collective. And of course, I make you listen to country when we ride, so it's different. So,
I've been playing my Pandora channel that I have of some country artists that I like, and that's I'm kind of getting back into that.
You're welcome. We got one. This is from your daughter Grace. Doing great, Dad. So
hey, Grace. Hi. Thank you for tuning in. That is my baby daughter. She's my youngest. I have 3 wonderful children and 2 outstanding stepchildren, Tyler and Tabitha. And then I've got Casey, Delana, and Grace. And then I've got 2 grandchildren. I've got Peyton and I've got Cody. Cody is my son, Casey's son.
All right. And you also have a son at home now that is your full-time child there. We believe we talk about him a lot there, Silvio. So
yeah, he's in on the couch right now.
Of course, why wouldn't he be?
That's what he does. He eats and sleeps and barks at noises.
Does whatever he wants, Dad.
That's right. He does.
He's a puppy, and he does his job. He keeps you company, keeps you calm. So he's like a service dog without the label.
That's right. He's 110 pounds of love.
So I know after you got out of service, you took a little break from service, but you did a crazy job on the Mississippi River. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Always wanted to work on a river boat when I was a kid. I thought it was romantic, Tom Sawyer and all that stuff. It ain't. I did some trips on the lower Mississippi and up the Ohio. It's a great job. Don't get me wrong. If you are a young man, 45 is not when you start this job. Everything on that boat is heavy. It's hot in the summertime and cold in the winter, but it's relaxing. If you get a minute, you get out there at the head of the tow, out there on the front of the barges, sit down. All you hear is the river, and it was kind of relaxing. But it's also kind of like the military. You had a set schedule every day. You did the same thing basically every day. And it was a good transition, I think. And plus, it gave me a break from dealing with the military. But when it was time to quit, I gladly jumped into the job I have now of, teaching soldiers. And but yeah, it was a good way to transition.
Definitely, a lot of us needed that decompression period to
Yes,
hang up the boots and
that's the word I was
breathe
looking for right there.
and kind of breathe a little bit. Like for me, I took a year completely off before even starting my first job, and then I took 2 years there before I wound up in the same office as you and doing things I actually like and being with the soldiers again. But having that decompression period helped in more ways than I can ever imagine because I took the time to get help, to get myself help and point my compass in the right direction again instead of spiraling out of control like a lot of our brothers and sisters do. And I mean, you read the statistics every day, just like I do. You see the headlines. We lose 22 brothers and sisters a day due to the darkness, and I know that weighs heavy on you, especially with your career field. There's a lot of dudes and dudettes who are fighting that battle right now, and in silence because a lot of them are too proud to ask for help. What would you say to them right now if you could just shake them down and say, "Hey, we're here"?
I just, we have a group on Facebook it's called After the Long Walk. It's EOD guys, it's for EOD guys and for their families. If you need somebody to talk to, reach out. It doesn't matter who it is. Take care of yourself. Get rid of that stigma of, we'll take it back when I first joined the Army. You did not go to sick call, ever. It didn't matter how bad you hurt. Well, then things kind of changed a little bit, and it was okay to go to sick call. It was okay to get physical problems taken care of. But you better not have anything wrong with your head. Now that stigma is kind of going away. And we've all had that platoon sergeant that come in every morning, hungover, smelling like booze. Maybe if he talked to somebody, or maybe if that stigma wasn't there and he could talk to somebody, and that's what I did. And my wife has been my rock in this. She kind of led me, into getting counseling through the VA. We found a counselor there that we both got along with. I'd do so many sessions by myself. Then we would both go together. And that helped wonders. And you brought up a point in last night's show that I kind of want to touch on this evening. You said when you got home, you told your wife and daughter that you hadn't changed, that they had changed. That kind of hit home for me, because looking back on it, I was the one that changed. When we deploy, we hit the pause button on our life here. Then we go over there for 6 months, a year, however long we're gone. Then we come back and we expect just to hit the play button again and it pick right up where it left off. It don't do that. Once you realize that and go get help, and it doesn't matter who the help is, go to a professional, talk to friends, talk to coworkers, whoever, just talk to somebody.
Definitely, and I'm glad that you brought that up again because it was a shock for me to realize that I was the problem and not them. Because, like you said, we're hard headed and we can press that pause button, and we don't know how to unpause. Really, we don't know that as we paused them, we didn't really pause. We kept going forward and deteriorated in our heads and bodies. And that whole sick hole thing really hurt us now as we all sit in the office and talk about our VA claims. I mean, that tells you what that sick hall thing did to us. That's why
Yes.
that's why sick hall is important for soldiers now. You got to go if you tweak something, get it fixed. Get it fixed now before it's too late. Before you're like us and having to try to figure out what the problem actually is because you have no idea anymore.
Well, yeah, it's like with me taking however many weeks I've been in physical therapy after this surgery, where if I'd have got it fixed earlier, I wouldn't be in this boat.
Exactly. You probably would have never been on a boat, so it's good.
Probably not.
So, Jake, if you can give tips to young soldiers or young careerists that want to go into the EOD field, either civilian side or in the military, what would those tips be?
First of all, you're not special. You have a special skill set, which everybody in the military does. Everybody has a special skill set in their MOS. Figure out where you fit in the big picture. It's, everything doesn't revolve around the EOD company. Dig into those publications. There's thousands of them. Dig into those ordinance publications. Know what you're doing. And the number one thing that I told students, people may dislike you in your unit, and you might not get along with them. But as long as you do everything safe, if you're you're safe at your demo, you're safe at, your RSP work, if you're safe, if you are safe, you're successful. Can't nobody say anything bad about you. If you go out there being a cowboy, pulling up 5 and 6 155 rounds by the deck cord, people gonna talk about you.
Make movies about you.
Yeah.
Which is shown now in AIT for EOD students. He doesn't want to admit that. That's the first thing they watch to see if they're still cut out for it. So, so Jake, usually I put up a website for my guest. I know you don't have one yet. Your LLC is still about to form, but I looked up one for you, and I think this is one you'll agree is good to be on here. It's the EOD Warrior Foundation.
I'm a member of that great organization.
So I was thinking if people want to honor you and your EOD sisters and brothers, they can go and help here at EODWarriorFoundation.org. Tell us a little bit about the foundation there.
Well, they take care of EOD techs and their families. There's a scholarship with it that's open to the sons and daughters of EOD techs, Gold Star and otherwise. I think some of the contributions go to help upkeep of the wall. They have a memorial every year. They have an auction. All the proceeds from the auction go to the scholarship fund, and plus they help out. If there's a warrior that's having trouble, you can reach out to them, and they can offer any assistance. Be it's I don't know. I mean, they help with everything. They can probably help you pay a bill. They can help you get help. That's the big thing right there. They can help you get help. Because I'm not going to say that when I come back that my head wasn't a little scrambled. I'm just glad I got help. I'm sitting here today because I got help, and I still have, of course, everybody does. I still have dark days, but I've got a good foundation here at home. Got a great foundation there at work with you and Chuck and Wayne. And it helps. Ask for help. I'll probably think more of you I think more of somebody if they asked me for help than I would if they didn't and decided to take a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Great advice right there. And I was thinking about something as I was leading up into the show, and we always talk about when we're doing targets for mostly the Seaburn dudes, we talk about the 5-to-1. Talk the 5-to-1 EOD ratio, and you're more smart. You're smarter on the 5-to-1 than I am, but you can tell the audience what 5-to-1 is.
It deals with chemical munitions.
And
if you it's 5 pounds of explosives per 1 pound of agent.
that's simple math right there. 5 pounds to 1 pound. And I like to look at a different way I thought of it today. If there's one of me, I have at least 5 people outside of me. So 5-to-1 that can help me at all times, at least.
I like
and
that.
outside that circle, you have that network. There's always a 5-to-1 somewhere. So reach out to that network. Don't keep the pain inside and get that help. You can write it down, Jake. I'll give you honors on that one.
Thank you.
You can put it in your group tonight.
Okay.
So, Jake, any parting words for the audience?
If you wear the uniform or have worn the uniform, I don't care if I know you or not. You're my brother or you're my sister. And that, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine, Coast Guard, Space Force, any of y'all. I love you. I love you for what you did. I don't care if you served 3 years or 30 years. You raised your hand. You said, I do. There's a bond that's between us. And if you need help, ask. My email address is jakeeod@gmail.com. I'll write it down.
And I'll put it in the show notes for everybody.
Reach out. If I can help you, I will. That's it. This 22 a day thing, it makes me sick.
Definitely.
There's no reason for it. I mean, ain't gonna be nobody left to help me take over the world.
Exactly. We need minions out there. We have to have minions out there.
That's right.
And your daughter chimed in again. Beautiful words. Love you.
I love you too, Grace. She's my daughter that's a little weird. She is going to be she's studying now to be I ain't gonna say weird, but she's going to be a funeral director.
Oh, wow. I just had a friend do that too. She went to school down here in Nashville for it. It's kind of surprising. I know 2 people that have done it. Wow. They can either become WWE wrestlers or funeral directors. Good.
Hey.
There it is. Well, Jake, thanks for taking some of your time tonight to hang out with us. Don't forget his email is jakeeod@gmail.com. It's on the screen right now, and again, it will be in the show notes when we're done here. So thank you again for coming on, Jake, and I'll see you in about 2 minutes, I guess. 2 and 2, and we'll talk things out about the afterlife of this show.
Roger that. See ya.
When the sun goes down and the evening rolls around, that's the time I find got blue ribbon on my mind. I've got that blue ribbon on my mind. More and more lately I find I've got a taste for living. I'm thinking cold blue ribbon. I've got that blue ribbon on my mind.
Naturally good Pabst. America's premium beer since 1844. Pabst.
A lot to look forward to.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. It's themisfitnation.com to catch up on all of our episodes and also to get some of that great Misfit Nation gear. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are